you ever heard the scripture that all things work together for good? Unfortunately, that's not what happened in my life. I didn't start off on the good side of life. I followed down the road of drinking and drugs, and at age 19, I went through treatment and I accepted the Lord, and I started to go to AA meetings, and they teach you that you shouldn't have relationships for at least a year because you got so much baggage and they want you to work on that. But I didn't listen, and I had met and married my first husband within 8 months of going to AA and through treatment. He was sober for 3 years before we got married, took his first drink on our honeymoon. And unfortunately, he continued to drink until the day he died. We had 2 separate paths. Here I was a Christian and I went one way, and he was drinking and he went another way. So it wasn't a happily ever after. It wasn't a good picture. And coming from an alcoholic home and then marrying an alcoholic home where there's lots of physical abuse and mental abuse, and there was even unfaithfulness, it's very devastating. I felt like such a failure. I felt like I failed at marriage. And it took years for me to develop a relationship with the Lord. But even if you have a good relationship with the Lord and you're in the middle of a toxic relationship, it's hard to serve Him. And I did the best I could. I believed in marriage, and I stayed in that marriage for 10 years. But it took a toll on me, waiting home night after night for him to come home, and drunk and not knowing where he was or who he was with. It was really stressful and really hard for me. I ended up having cancer. And I believe when I got cancer, it was a direct result of all of the stress and the things that I was going through in my life. And it manifested itself through cancer. And when I had cancer, I had to have an operation. And 3 weeks after recovering from that surgery, he came home drunk and we got into a big fight. And I ended up fleeing in the middle of the night just after having surgery with 4 small children. And I went into a crisis center for abused women. I was only 29 years old, and I knew that I couldn't go back again, so I stayed alone and I raised my 4 children. With God's help, a lot of godly counsel and a lot of help through the years, God really helped me renew my mind and heal my wounds. But what happened is the struggles that I had went through, all of those struggles really prepared me for what God had for me. After I got my life back together again, I went into the jail to minister to women prisoners. I remember this one prisoner saying to me, what do you know? You probably never sinned a day in your life. But when I was able to share my story with her and I was able to relate to her, it really opened up that opportunity to be able to witness and to show her that there is hope, that no matter where you're at today, there's hope and you can come out of it. I also went to Teen Challenge for a year and helped women overcome addictions. And I also, not to mention all the one-on-one that I had with countless of broken women, helping them put their lives back together. All the things that I had been through, the divorce and the abuse and the cancer, it wasn't fun. And I would not wish that on anybody. But it is what God took and turned around. And now I can really say that my past is my greatest asset. And God has really worked all things together for good. Like I said, I didn't start out on the right side, but God took that and He turned it all around for good.